What's up, YouTube? Back to the channel. Listen, we got another video from, it's complicated. I think my last video I did on him, he left a comment he left a comment on the video. I think he left a comment with a question that I didn't answer to, but I will answer to it. Again, shout out to this brother. I feel like he's very interactive when it comes to, people showing respect to his videos or just in general, because I think that was my second video making. I made from his channel, and then he left a comment. But I will reach back to him, shout out to the brother. And the title says today, what is a man? Rules of modern day and understanding women. It's complicated. The title be nice, but let's get into it. Let's go.
Do you think a man is less of a man if he can't change a flat tire?
I do think so. Me and my roommates talk about it all the time, and that's one of the qualities we look for in a man, just to know that we can be safe and protected with them.
Is a woman less of a woman if she can't cook a meal from scratch?
No,
Why is there a difference?
because I don't know how to cook a meal.
It's so funny. We have double standards in society, right? We do. There's some, you know, how can you say that? There's some that men do good with, some that men don't do good with, right? Which is okay because life in itself is not, is not, man, it's not equal. So naturally, they're gonna have a imbalance in some certain things, right? But why is it that she would want a man that could change a flat tire? And if he can't, in her eyes, she's not a man. So why don't you ever consider, okay, the man might want a woman who could cook food from scratch, not always ordering food out. I mean, obviously, you could date night and you can order food, but do you actually know how to cook? And a lot of times, people see things only one side. They don't look at both sides of the equation, right? So she could say, "Well, I want this from a man," but she not even considering what does that man want from me? What can I give to that man that is valuable to him and make him see me as valuable? That's why we got so much trouble in society because people only consider about themselves and not just me, but other people as well. And what can I do? And what I need to do is not only what can people do for me, but what can I do for others as well? That's the problem in society now.
From scratch. So,
What if a man doesn't know how to change a tire?
well, I guess it's okay. But if a man wants a woman who can cook, then they shouldn't date me.
Yeah, good for you. It's funny.
What is a woman?
What is a woman? Um, I think it's someone that is born female.
Okay.
Someone who was born with female parts.
Okay.
To
Okay.
me, a woman is somebody that is beautiful inside and out, empowered, and inspires positive change in the world around her.
If a woman is an adult human female, why wouldn't an adult human male be the definition of a man?
Who says it's not a definition of a man?
That is the definition of a man, right? Like
What is the difference between a male and a man?
a male is someone who was born with male parts.
Male is male is male is male. But to me, a man is somebody that is a protector, a provider, and makes you want to be that feminine woman for them.
A man is really someone who's like a developed masculine man who is like born and like developed and grown in society like as a man.
Well, why are there more burdens placed on a man to begin with?
Because that's how God designed us.
I come from a religious standpoint on it, so I think that um, girls are more emotional, right? So our role is to nurture and be there, while men are supposed to be the providers and work.
I think that depends on who you talk to, because you could say that there's burdens placed on women also.
What does masculinity look like if you're not religious, traditional, or conservative?
I feel that, like, if you're chivalrous if you are a problem solver. For me as a woman, sometimes if I get overwhelmed, I just want my man to take over and be like, oh, thank God you helped me. Or if you know, I feel like a man is someone that can help me figure out problems or help me through my day if, I'm ever feeling that I get stuck. So just someone that can help me a little bit.
Why are men defined by their role while women are defined by their existence?
I think women are also defined by their role. It depends on who you ask. There's a lot of societal pressure, especially now in the day and age of social media. I myself often find comparing myself to others on social media.
Well, that is something you have to deal with that have nothing to do with anybody else, right? Because you have to live for yourself. And that's the mistake I always make. People can compare themselves to other people so much that they lose sight of who they are. They lose their own identity and adapt somebody else's identity, not even knowing that they living for somebody else and not themselves, living for the audience, but not the person who's truly inside, who's right here. A lot of people don't do that, and that's why we have so much, corruption in society. We have so much, confusion in society because people now tend to try to live a life for other people and not for themselves. So that's why a lot of people have depression, why a lot of people unhappy, and why a lot of people hate and envy others because they try to be like somebody else so badly that they don't realize that I could be my own self and be comfortable in my own skin and be who I want to be and impress myself and not care what you think or what that person think over there. If people start thinking more like that, I think society will be in a better place. We'll be more happy. We'll have less depression. We'll have better relationships. Not just man and woman, but friendships. Father and son, mother and daughter, father and daughter. Mother and son. I feel like we'll have better relationships if a lot of these things stop going on. But until then, I don't think we'll ever see such clarity in society.
Media. So I think it goes both ways. It just depends on who you ask.
Women introduce themselves to me, they'll say hi and we'll talk about it. And then it's like, oh, are you a mom? Or what do you do for your job? And so it's like, what is your role? Not just merely existing. So I think we get a lot of that too.
Do you think that men get joy and gratitude out of serving women even if women don't reciprocate?
Oh, I think it depends on the reason that they're doing it.
A lot of men that I meet in my life, and maybe it's like a demographic thing, but I think men get satisfaction by like serving a woman and like leading a woman, and it just really depends on how they're raised though.
Isn't that the definition of a simp?
You're right. I mean, the definition of a simp is like really like serving, like bowing down to your wife, but I think like masculinity, it goes both ways. However,
And that's the problem because we try to mix certain things together. Simp is a man who have no respect. Right now, simping is not just something men do. Women can simp as well. But you have to understand is that people try to mix things together, like I said earlier, and that's why it's such a problem. That's why you cannot say certain things. And people are like, "Oh, you a simp," but not knowing, you have a duty as a man to do certain things, right? You're known to do certain things. So naturally, it's going to be in your DNA to do certain things. It's going to be in your nature to do certain things. Being a leader or provider, that doesn't mean you're a simp. But if you're getting disrespected, you're getting downplayed for the work that you put in and the things that you do, and you keep doing it, you getting ill treated, but you keep doing it. Well, that is the definition of a simp. A man who wants to take care of his woman and wants his woman to be happy, right? And his woman has been good to him, and in return, he's doing a good favor for her and taking care of her and being there for her, leading her, guiding her in a certain way, right? That's not a simp. That is a man. So that's what it's more about. It's not about I just do everything and she don't do nothing. Well, the woman have to play a part as well. right? It's not just be, sitting down and just being pretty. Is that's just gonna cut everything. Well, beauty pass eventually, right? Is just more of the character of that person, seeing if that person is a good person for you in the first place. But that's just my thoughts.
Like it still goes both ways. Like women can still serve men as well, but I think like a masculine man is comfortable in his own skin to lead a woman.
Isn't that the definition of a simp?
Maybe, but we like simps.
Well, I don't know what a simp is.
Would men still serve women if they knew they would never get that reciprocation?
Would they steal or should they steal?
What do you think?
Well, they should steal.
I hope so. I think so.
Do you believe it's a man's duty to respect a woman regardless of how she treats him in return?
Yes, I think that's the right thing to do.
Well, I mean, unless you're beating his ass, then probably not. But if you just drink a little too much and get a little crazy, there's no reason he should be mad at you because you're just having fun.
Well, people, it's a funny thing she said that. People would drink, you know, a low ton of liquor, right? And they take the anger out on somebody else. It's not called for. You have a problem, and you should deal with that problem, not bring it to me and expect me to deal with it. That is something within yourself you have to take care of. If you have a drinking problem, what do? You stop drinking. But I can't stop drinking. You don't want to stop drinking. That's the truth. You don't want to stop. Because if you wanted to stop, you would have tried. You'd actually see that bottle and say, tell you what, I don't want that kind of problems. So I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna have control over myself and stop. Which a lot of people don't have control over themselves. Right? And people lack that, self-awareness too. So they're not even aware of the things that they do. So it's very hard for them to like unsee or undo a lot of the things that they take part in. And that's why we have such problems in society because people don't hold each other accountable. You try to hold people accountable, and then it's like, you know, now you mean, now you're controlling, right? Now you hate people, not knowing that the reason why I'm telling you is because I have true love for you and I care for you. Because I want you to be in a better place. Because the place you currently in, I don't like it. It's not doing you good. So if I tell you, hey, I don't like when you do that. I don't want you to do that. It's because I see there is better in you. The people who don't say nothing to you, they don't want the best for you. They don't want the best for you. If they wanted the best for you, they would have told you, stop taking part in that kind of activity you're doing. Stop drinking so much. Stop smoking so much. Stop doing all these drugs. Right? Try to do something better with your life. That's the people who care for you. The people who's always concerned, like your mom. Your mom keep telling you, son, don't go out there and do mischievous things. Be careful out there. She calling you to make sure you okay. That's somebody who cares about you. People who don't care, they will never call you. They'll never check upon you, see how you're doing. The only time they're on is when things are good, when things are nice. When it's all smiles and giggles, that's the only time they're around. But the people who's around, no matter if you're sad, happy, right? No matter what you're going through, but they're still there. That's the people who care. That's the people who care. And you should care for them too. Because there's not too much of these people out there. Trust me, there's not.
And he needs to get a better personality.
Would men still serve women if they knew they would never get that reciprocation?
No.
Do you believe it's a man's duty to respect a woman regardless of how she treats him in return?
No.
No, I wouldn't do that based on gender. I think that respect is earned regardless of your gender.
How can a man respect women without losing self-respect in the process?
I don't think you lose respect by respecting women. I think a man that respects a woman is more respectable.
What is the difference between a show horse and a plow horse?
Well, a show horse is like me.
Show horse can be a performance horse. Plow horse is like a working ranch farm horse.
Why does being physically stronger assign men the role of a plow horse while women are show horses on display?
women are supposed to be praised and beautiful, and men are supposed to bring home the
Because she's valued by her beauty and her sexuality. That's why, right? N- The man is, right, which is not always a pretty thing, right? So that's why we have this comparison. As a man, he's valued on the things that he could do. If he's physically able to do certain things, the woman is just viewed by how she look and some of the things she's born with and she have. So that's why we have this, view on men and women.
money.
A show horse is designed to be beautiful and pretty. A plow horse is a stockier build. That's where you're going to run into your drafts. They're comfortable, they're fun, they're cool little gentle giants, but at the end of the day, their job is to pull and push heavy objects, so they're going to have a bigger frame.
Why does being physically stronger assign men the role of a plow horse while women are show horses on display?
I don't think that women are show horses on display. I do like the idea of a man being a plow horse. I think that's quite funny. But women can be strong too. As a matter of fact, I lift 3 days a week at least, and it comes in handy working on a ranch. You have to be able to do things yourself as well, and I don't think it makes a man a workhorse, but I've seen some pretty guys too. So men can be show horses too, I suppose.
Does society shame men more for being strong and masculine, or does it shame men more for being weak?
It shames men more for being weak.
Definitely weak.
Weak.
Why do you feel that way?
I think we prefer stronger men. I don't know.
Why do people think that if you're not this macho alpha male, that means you want to put on a dress and wear makeup?
I personally don't think that. I think other people might think that because there's this air of like toughness that represents toughness, and that you somehow have to be more resilient that way.
Society really, really pushes men to be extremely macho. And that's not necessarily, it can also be like in a toxic way.
Some of the ones I know are very scrawny, short guys that don't look very hyper masculine. Some of them are very pretty too, some of them aren't. But to me, they're hyper masculine in the sense that they are the provider. They care about their woman, and their wives are absolutely gorgeous. So you can still get a beautiful woman as long as you're that man.
Like a man should still pursue and lead and like provide for a woman emotionally, not just financially, emotionally, and that's when a man is safe and secure in his own skin. However, I don't necessarily think like society thinks that if they're not necessarily there yet, they need to put on a dress, and they're like a little B word.
Can someone be masculine but not a man, or be a man but not masculine?
Depending on your definition of masculinity, yes.
So why is masculinity even applied to men in the first place?
I think gender constructs and what makes us comfortable as a society, not that it makes it right.
I think there's different levels of how masculine a man can be, but that doesn't not make him a man.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Why is there so much confusion about what a woman is, but everyone seems to know what a real man is?
Because you're asking the women about who are.
Because tell you what, society, naturally know that. A lot of times, and you might, before when I say that, because they expect a certain outcome out of men. They expect men to be sane in the mind. They expect men to be in a certain way, act in a certain way, doing things in a certain way, right? Live life in a certain way, dressed a certain way. But naturally, that's just how we always been. That's how it will always be moving forward. On the other hand, women, a lot of times society not expecting women to be, all this like very structured and very sane like all the time. Because they understand women are driven by how they feel, right? And they know that. So that's why it's never really a pressure on women to like really have like, stuff done and have things in a structured way. So that's why they view us very differently. That's why I always say we're not the same. That's the truth for you right there.
The real man is.
Again, I think like cultural constructs of men needing to provide or needing to be in the position of provision.
When you ask a woman what she wants in a man, she's going to define that traditional role, I believe, most of the time. Do we want the show horse or do we want the plow horse? I mean, there's of course at least a little bit of truth in the fact that we do kind of want to show horse too. There's nothing that breaks my heart more than seeing a beautiful woman, and I've seen it here at the NFR. Beautiful woman walking around, dressed to the nines, makeup, hair done, on point. And then her man's walking around in gym clothes. So when you ask a woman what she defines as a man, you're going to get a little bit more of an accurate representation versus if you ask anybody else about what defines a woman, you're going to get a million and one questions and answers all in the same statement.
Why can a woman be whatever she wants, but a man is clearly defined?
I would argue that it also is that way for women because a lot of times it's you have to either be a mother or in the workforce, that you're not allowed to have crossover.
What constitutes a weak man versus a strong man?
I think a strong man is someone who can show up confidently as himself and answers to himself. And a weak man is someone who feels like they have to put other people down or treat people poorly to compensate for their own issues.
Why don't we have those same stipulations for women? Does a woman have to be a feminist or masculine to be considered strong?
No, I don't think that they do.
It could be mentally strong or physically strong. Even myself, I like to get pretty and dress up, but I also like to go rope and go weld and do masculine things. That doesn't make me more masculine than other girls, or even when I get dressed up more feminine than other girls. That's just who I am, and I think people need to be true to who they are and stick to it and just like.
Well, we have similarities. Nothing wrong with that. It's just more in the character of the type of person you are. You playing basketball, you shooting, basketballs around. That doesn't mean you're a masculine woman. This means you just like the sport. You enjoy the sport. That's all it is. It's just more of the kind of the type of character that you have and how you display not to yourself but to other people and how other people see you, right? And that's where we need to see things as that.
Like I said, treat people the way you'd want to be treated.
Why don't women shame each other for being weak the same way that men shame each other for being weak?
I think women shame each other for being weak. They just do it in a more backhanded, mean way.
No, that's not true. I never seen that. Never in my life.
I mean, I think if you just go on social media, how girls compare themselves to each other and tear each other down, I think it's pretty equal, yeah.
Why is it when we talk about women's issues, it's considered the war on women, but when we talk about men's issues, it's considered the war on masculinity?
Because I would argue maybe the men that are struggling with that war the most are having a hard time defining their own masculinity for themselves.
Maybe it's just a social media thing, but guys are getting away from their traditional roles. Back even with my father and seeing him as growing up, he always made sure that my mom knew that if she wanted to work, she could work. If she wanted to stay at home and be a stay-at-home mom, which she was, she had that opportunity presented to her as well. Now, with the economy doing what it's doing, it's very hard to see a man that can step into that role completely and provide for not just himself and the household, but also a partner and children.
Why don't we consider it a war on men any more than we consider it a war on femininity?
I don't know. That's a good question.
What does masculinity look like if you're not religious, conservative, or traditional?
I think it's showing up as yourself confidently and not waiting for society to tell you who to be or how to treat women or how to love yourself exactly as you were made.
What's the difference between a feminist defining a real man versus the masculinity movement defining a real man?
A feminist defining a man, I don't think either are okay.
Well, what gives either one the right to define manhood?
I don't think either have the right to define manhood.
Why don't we allow men to be defined in their own right?
I think men should be defining themselves. And I think even like subconsciously adhering to gender constructs or what society thinks or tells them what masculinity is, that's undoing to themselves.
When it comes to relationships, men are expected to protect and provide. If men should protect because they're physically stronger, why shouldn't the woman pay the bills? Why shouldn't the man be assigned both duties when women are capable of at least being a provider?
Well, because we have to take care of those damn kids. And then we have to wash those clothes, and then we have to cook those dinners, and then we have to wash all those everything.
Is it really that hard? Cleaning the house is not really all that. Pick up the clothes, put it in the dryer. You don't even have to wash it in your hands. And I've seen women personally with my own two eyes. Had to go to the river, wash it in the hands, come back home, cook food, take care of the kids. clean the whole house by herself, right? Is it really all that difficult? You have a washer and a dryer, right? You have a steam mop, you have a vacuum, so life's it's very much easy for you. So man, I've seen more work than that. You could do it. I believe in you.
And we're tired of it.
Okay, so I think that if you're both working, because I work and my boyfriend works, and I think that could be 50-50, and I'm okay with that. But let's say we have babies and I want to be a stay-at-home wife, then he'll take on that role and I'll nurture, I'll take care of the house, I'll make sure there's meals when he comes home from work. So I think it's a 50-50 equal effort.
If men are expected to risk their lives, why can't women risk their paychecks?
Because we don't make as much as them sometimes. And even if we do, our money is our money and their money is our money.
I think women are capable of doing both, and I think like in a relationship it should be what's harmonious for your family or works best for your family and not because of what culture's dictating.
Do you believe that men are natural protectors, or is that learned behavior?
I think it's natural instinct.
It's something that you're taught growing up. I feel like if, like old school values, for example, like men were always taught that you should walk on the outside of the sidewalk, you should open the door. And I feel like the men that were taught that when they're younger are now better protectors than men that weren't.
I think it's learned behavior, and it's also like what do you feel you need to be protected from or what you need to be protecting.
How can men be natural protectors if men are the very thing that women need protection from?
You don't need protection from all men, just some.
I don't know that I would personally like look to a man to be protecting me. I'd want to learn to protect myself first.
But you can't. Jesus Christ. Like, why they, like, sometimes I really think, like, what is some of them thinking? The man is physically able and he get a hold of you. What are you going to do? How are you protecting yourself? That's what I truly want to know. If that man truly say, tell you what, yeah, if I get a hold of you, you're not going nowhere. What can you truly do? And he's not even to get mad or hate on them. It's just like, use your common sense. Because things could go left very fast. Whether you think you're strong or not, it could go left very fast. I want you to understand that.
Wouldn't that mean that like men are more likely to be protectors than be predators?
Well, there's a lot of different. This world is a dark place and has become a very dark place. There's a lot of good men out there and there's a lot of good women out there, but you need protection from both.
I think it's learned behavior. A lot of the men that I've dated or run into, the ones that grow up in households without a positive male influence, whether it be the uncle, the dad, older brother, or even a neighbor or friend, when they don't have that positive male influence in their household growing up, I've seen them, I call it female behavior, which is awful, but guys tend to act more like women when they're surrounded by women. And I think it's a learned behavior with.
And that's the importance of the masculine. That's the importance of the masculine. So I'm telling you. And funny, bro, even when you're around your girl too much, bro, it does the same thing to you. I'm telling you, it's very important. I'm telling you, that masculine presence is very important. That masculine energy, you being around that masculine energy as a man, you need that because that is gonna push you. Right? When your brother over there doing good and you over there slacking and he telling you, yo, I'm doing this, that, and that. You're like, God damn, hold on. Shit, damn. I need to get my shit together. That in itself will push you to do better. Right? Versus if you have a girl, oh baby, let's cuddle, let's lay down, let's have intercourse. You have intercourse and intercourse and intercourse, and then you're not even working. You're not even doing nothing productive. It's always let's lay, let's chill. There's no moving forward in that. There's no moving forward. But
With those
I'm gonna
traditional
learn the hard.
roles, the guys that are often the ones that go, oh no, we're going 50-50. Or I expect you to provide for the household while also cooking and cleaning and being my partner. Those are the ones that oftentimes grow up with a single mom. And it breaks my heart that they don't have that positive male influence to look up to.
And lastly, if conservatives hold freedom in the highest regard, why do men have a duty attached to them in the first place?
Because I don't think they realize that it's even attached to them. I don't think it's a conscious awareness.
Do you think that things would change if they were aware of that?
Yeah, and I think if they started to look inward and were empowered culturally to look inward and to define themselves and define their own masculinity, that the world would be a better place for it.